Cool. That does it. All right, cool. So what do you do? What do you do for a living? What do you do for money?
What do I do for a living? Do a few things for a living, man. Run a building company. That's the main thing. That's the jux of it.
Bread and butter.
Yeah, that is bread and butter.
Okay.
I guess.
Cool.
It's in the blood. It's the lineage. It's the easiest
Yeah,
stuff.
how did you get into that? What was the
You know what?
the road to get into
How
that?
did I get into it? My family was into it. My uncles were into it. You know, they used to do building work. I used to go and labour for them. You know, £20 a day, £30 a day.
Those ones.
You know.
What, Vijay?
Yeah, Vijay, Uncle V. Yeah, you get that. And you know, you learn things, and then you get older and you realise, hold on, I naturally can do some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And then you become better and better.
Isn't that funny? Like I feel like what is around you is more accessible. Like I know people that become what they became because of their parents. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like I know people that were security guards and then they started doing that, or taxi drivers or whatever, and it just seems more accessible. And I think even with myself, my mum did a degree when I was younger, and I thought my mum can do this with 6 kids. I can do it on my own. So I think it's really important to see progress or to see success for you to be able to say it's obtainable. Do you know what I mean?
It's environment, bro. You know, we do whether we like it or not, we do become part of our environment, you know. And I guess back then, that was the environment, innit? Home life, and then get out of the house life was go to work. If your uncle's 14, right. Well, true say it started at 12. Was working in a corner shop because my mum said I can go and work. I was like, that was my first job. I was I was going to school at Woodbridge. That's because I come to Woodbridge at 14. That's when I first met you. Mm-hmm. We should cover that. That's why I'm here today. So. Right. Woodbridge High School. Then I was working in TG supermarket. Okay. I wanted money from young. Right. You know, was that 13, 14? You know what I mean? You know, they're giving me like £2-3 an hour or something like that.
But me and you always wanted money. You know why?
Yeah. Go on, tell me.
Because the time that me and you sat in my dad's house and recorded CDs, recording CDs just to make a bit of pee, just to go to the kebab shop and get like.
How can we sell those CDs? I can't remember that bit. I remember spending a lot of hours on that computer, writing the
recording
CD.
them, watching something downstairs while they're recording and whatever. And then we went to the schools. I swear it was 6th form, so we must have been 15, 16.
Yeah, later on.
And then we just had people like, oh, whatever CD you want. I remember just speaking to people in the common room and just be like, oh yeah, like what CD do you want? I could get this for you, whatever. £5, £8 for doubles and
slow jams running through 6th form, innit? Yeah.
And that was it. Yeah. So you've always been that. You've always been like business minded. Yeah, the same as me, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's
when you come from a little bit of less quality of upbringing, but not financially, not quite there. Right. You know, you want a little bit more for yourself. You know, TV was out. You know what done it for me? What started the spark? This is really like, it is what it is. Bro, it was MTV.
Really?
I can remember being young, like 11 years of age, and I remember being that MTV was on and 50 was on or something like that. It was that old. I remember thinking, these lot are balling. This is sick. I want some. Why does my life not look like that?
But it's so interesting that you went that route, because I could see that. I could see that in you. I could see that in you from a young age. However, I wasn't the same. As much as I have aspirations, I had aspirations, wanted to do things and whatever. It never was like, oh, these niggas are doing this, I need to get that. It was never that. I think it was more fear-based.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Rather than like most people is like, oh, I want to go towards this. Me is like, I do not want that, so I have to do this. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
It's slightly different.
Okay, so it's 2 and 1 the same, innit? Really, it's just a different way of getting you to the end goal. Right. So really, it doesn't, within reason, that's quite a good thing to say. It don't really matter how it started. It just built the fire, innit?
It. And then we both got the same fire on us to do the things that we try to do.
Absolutely.
So how did you get to the level you are with your building company? What was some of the steps to say, boom, you got to this point?
So started off really basic. You know, I went through the process. So I started as a labourer. I worked it out. I see another guy do something that I knew I could do and he got paid for. And I just learnt small trades. I learnt to fit floors, fit kitchens, put tiles on the wall, basic stuff. I actually used to work for the local councils and stuff.
Right.
This is through my uncle at the time.
Yeah.
And back then it seemed like great money. Back then, everything's great in its time, isn't it? So back then, it was all right money, and it progressed. And I realised at one point that, hold up, like I throughout my life, I've always eradicated the person in front of me. So you bring me within reason. Yeah, of course. It's naturally it's my natural instinct. That's why if you partnership up with me, best is under a contract, because within reason, if it's not friendship, my mind naturally progresses. Maybe not in the later years, bro, because teams do build more money. But in the younger years, I was like, well, why am I gonna work for you and get paid £100 when you're getting £1,000 when I can do the same job and I'm making you the money? That doesn't make sense. That will lead into my later businesses. So back then, from my uncle, I decided that, you know what, I'm gonna go solo. So this is obviously pushing through. So I still done a lot of to and fro work and all about the place for probably about 4 years. And in my 20s, I realised that, my mid-20s, I realised that, hold up, I'm actually really good at this. And I've got an eye for design. Because again, that's where me and you piled up. We was in DT together, right? Yeah. Was it design technology?
We did a class together.
Sure,
quite possibly.
Something like that.
Something like that.
I done product design, and like a bit. My eye for interior architecture and that kind of stuff was big. So I had a different vision from the people I was working with. But then I'm working in this building world thinking, well, my vision, it lies somewhere here, but it's just not with these people I'm working with. Right. So I just found a group that appreciated my vision. Right. So before you know it, I would have clients that have these mad ideas and want these fancy bathrooms with these Greek tiles and these cornices and hanging lights, and I could build it, and I slowly progressed to that, and then more jobs came along. I started to build up a name for myself.
So then when was the point where you said, I need more people around me to kind of help? Was there a deciding factor to say, I'm not going to do it? Because you don't do it alone. Yeah. So was there a deciding factor that made you say, oh, well, I need these other people? Or was it just the fact that people were around you? Or what was how'd that work?
I didn't realise that I needed people around me whilst I was actually physically involved. I'm less physically involved now, yeah? So when I was physically involved, my vision was blurred to the where it could go to. It's when I came away from the building and done other things that I realised that, in quiet times, I realised that I could really make the building thing work, and I didn't really got to do much. I could just employ the right people and manage it. And that's when the vision come. It wasn't when I was in the cook. It wasn't when I was cooking. It was when I was out in the kitchen.
Did you speak to anyone about that, or was that purely you're like, oh well, I think I should do this, like, or?
I wouldn't say I directly spoke to anyone about it, but I would say that I saw it. I see other people. I saw success in front of me. I see people like with 2 or 3 vans making good money. Yeah. Look, the truth in it though is that building is not my passion. Right. Yeah, let's get it real straight from the get-go. Right. I hear that. Just because it buys the bread and butters the bread, yeah, no one doesn't want to eat bread and butter. Right. Yeah, it's not fun. Yeah, I want to eat steak and potatoes. Yeah, so but I always knew that because there's nothing wrong with being a builder. There's nothing wrong with being anyone in the trade. Because let's get something clear. Builders are one of the highest paid trades in the country now. 100%.
It's evident. Like
guys on 210 a day, 180 a day. Some of them can't even read.
That's what I'm saying, and they're doing light work. Some of them they're doing crazy amounts of stuff, and they're making all right money. Do you know what I mean? All right money. So yeah, man. Like I get it. Yeah, that's why people say learn a trade. They used to say that when we were younger. Yeah. Learn a trade. Learn a trade because you can make your nice money and you can set yourself up. You know what I mean? Like how you want to work as such.
Yeah, no, definitely. I guess I kind of saw that, if I employ the right people and get a strategy on it, could work. Nevertheless, like I said, building isn't my main thing but what I knew is that it's easy. Right. It became easy.
See, this is the thing, and I think I was in the. I'm a graphic designer. I've been graphic designer for like the last 10 years, right? The only real reason why I did it is because I was naturally gifted at it. It was naturally easy doing stuff like that. I saw stuff on TV. I used to watch Bewitched. I don't know if you've seen that when you was a kid. Her husband was a graphic designer. Okay. He was an illustrator, graphic designer. I was like, I can do that. You know when you just you're you and you know I can do that. And you ever seen a film called Boomerang by Eddie Murphy?
Yeah.
Right. Halle Berry, she's a graphic designer, pretty much. I was like, I can do that. And you know, you just feel, yeah, Boomerang can do that. And that's why I got into the trade I got into. It's just like I know you can know I could do that. It was easy for me. So you say to yourself, this is easy for me and I can make money easily from this. Why am I not doing it? Do you know what I mean? And then that's what it makes sense, right? And I can see the same for you. If it was easy and it was around you and in your family, why would you not? Do you know what I mean? But it was for you to take it to a different level and say, well, I'm gonna make decent money from this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's kind of what it is. But you know what? This may sound really crazy, but you know, if I talk about when it all started, so say my kind of entrepreneur stroke started after we left school. So what did we left about 16. We done our A levels because we enabled ASs.
What did I do? BTEC or something like that.
Yeah, you would study with me.
So I did 1 year. I did 1 year GMVQ, and then I went to college. The college. Yeah.
Okay, so you moved that. So I done my 2 years in Woodbridge.
Right.
My AS levels and that. Yeah, you're right. Wow. Bearing in mind, it's going back like a few years. Yeah, a few years ago. Yeah, cool. But truth be told, so the whole building thing in the company, as much as that started, so that's always been in me from young. But that was never the hustles back then. That's only the hustles to talk about today. You know, you talk about you got a building company, cool, but that's not what I was doing back then. 16. You know, I opened up my first advertising company.
Doing a lot. You were doing a lot, you know.
Think about it. So we're talking about building, right?
Work for you.
Of course you did.
I was cleaning cars.
Oh my gosh, now you get that.
So I was cleaning cars, number one.
Wow.
Then I was doing the
Wow.
trader thing.
Come on.
Bruh. So yeah, you've been on it.
You know what, my eyes, my yeah, well, you know, when I reflect on it, I'm like, wow. You know, I tried. I gave a lot of things a go. Yeah, so mobile car wash was one of them. But before that was TAS, Top Auto Services.
Yes,
which
Top
is
Auto
selling
Service.
advertisement space for cars on the internet.
Yeah.
So again,
That was when the internet wasn't the internet as well.
Internet wasn't even internet. It was dial-up and all that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. That's a long time ago.
So the bottom line is, this is how it worked. I worked for a company. I worked in there. You know the.
But then that's your brain again saying, how can I get the money that he's getting?
Well,
do you know what I mean? Rather than saying, "Oh, I work for him."
Yeah, of course, because I'm not designed to work for no one. I've tried. I've genuinely tried. Because listen, some of the guys who work let's go to the building industry quickly, they make good money a week. They don't need to run their own company. Stress-free, but not everybody's designed to own their own company because there's a lot comes with it. You're responsible for that check every...
Like I'm a hybrid, you know? I'm a hybrid.
That's really good.
In a way, because the thing is, I've worked for massive companies, some of the biggest companies in the world. However, I always saw that as a failure. It's not a failure because you're working. I'm feeding my family. There's not. It's not failure. But at the same time, in my head, because I'm entrepreneurial, that's how I think. So to me, I'm taking a step down so I can get a step up later by working for someone else, and that's always how I felt. That's always how I felt about it. And I've been capable enough, quiet enough, emotionally intelligent enough to work for someone else. But that's not the goal.
Yeah, I get that, but at the same time, I think now in today's world, we believe so much that we need to be entrepreneurs independently. So it is not everybody.
No, but we've been pushed that there's such a massive thing, but
like
it's not for everyone.
Entrepreneur, you know, set up your own business. The truth of the matter is, a massive part of our population that is financially successful do not own their own companies. You do not need to own your own company. Do your own research, man. You've got to listen to me. You'll find it out. You do not need to own your own company to be financially stable. You just got to find a company who appreciates what you're bringing to the table.
Right.
Work your way through it.
Right.
You know, not everyone's going to do that. Some people are just going to be on a salary and get on with it. But
the salary, you can still make decent money from salary, you know? So look at this. So I looked at classes.
Okay.
You know, we had like middle class, lower class, upper class, like money wise and whatever. I looked at it again, and recently there's like 6 classes now.
Okay.
So they're saying the elite makes 90 grand a year.
Okay.
Before tax, and has a house.
Before tax.
It's most likely before tax.
Okay, cool. All right. Okay. Fair enough.
And has a house worth 325. One house. That's the elite.
The elite of what exactly?
Of the UK. So, there's jobs that pay 90 grand or more.
Yeah, I get that. I get
Right. So where would you put yourself? Would you put yourself elite? If you
above elite, most definitely.
right.
That's
That's what I'm saying. It's mad, innit? And I worked it out. So there's about 3 million people.
Yeah.
3 million people that are classed as elite in the UK. So what I'm trying to say,
3 million people classed as elite in the UK.
yeah,
Okay,
that's quite a few.
Okay, you know,
3 million is quite a lot of people.
Okay, cool.
But what I would say is that means there's people with jobs. There's not 3 million like businesses. Right. These people with jobs making that. So you can work your way. What I'm saying, to the point, you can work your way up and be the top earner in the whole of the UK, bro. So
okay. That's quite.
It's doable.
You know what? You're kind of. You know what? Okay, so they say 90 grand to be elite, yeah. Is that in? That has to be one person on their own, right? To be classed as elite. That's one house. Okay, cool. Right, that's what I'm getting at. Now we're getting into why my theory back then is not the same as now. So back to this year, I used to think that everybody you should all be entrepreneurs. The truth of the matter is, I learned a lot from my younger brother, Tariq. So what I learned is that no, not everyone is designed to be an entrepreneur.
No way.
But there's different ways to be an entrepreneur.
You can be an entrepreneur and be in a company and be entrepreneurial within a company.
Right. So my brother, he started Sainsbury's. He worked his way through, become a manager, moved to the airport, managed the airport. Now he's managing Ocado. So that's one income. So say his income's X, yeah, half of what we're talking about, yeah. Then meets his wife. She comes into the picture. She's, manager, this, that, the other. She's X as well. They're elite.
That's it.
So they're elite. But combined, I see a lot in that. Because sometimes we're going to call it elite now because it works for me. Sometimes being elite on paper is great because it's actually easier for them to get a mortgage than it is for me. Bro. How does that...
You know how hard it is for me to get a mortgage. You know how hard it is for me to get a mortgage. And sometimes, like I said, I said I was hybrid. So I've had jobs where I'm getting paid like PAYE. Right. And then some jobs where I'm getting paid from my company. Yeah. Right? So to the bank, unless you've had a full 2 years of we give you zero money.
Of course.
I make money, bro. Like I make money. But unless it is the way they want, or if you're tied into a job, all you need is 3 months.
How does that even make sense, is it?
But if I'm an entrepreneur, I need 2 years. And if I have any gaps, they're like, "No, well, you didn't make that piece." No, bro, I'll show you the receipts. I have the receipts, bro. I made money.
I in one aspect, I understand where they're coming from, because everyone would walk in the door as an entrepreneur and want everything, wouldn't they?
But then it's the crunch that happened in fucking 2002 and all that. They were giving it to anyone. They were like, just do what you want. 110% mortgage, 110.
Why didn't no one tell me in 2008 that I could acquire much more properties than I even the way
my brain wasn't ready though. No, as much as I would like to say I would have done this.
My first mortgage, my mum forced me to get it. Real talk, I promise you, the first mortgage I acquired, my mother forced me to do it. I was like, I wasn't even paying, I didn't even care. I remember signing the thing thinking, this is okay, I think, thanks. But yeah, okay, I've got a yard now, put some money in, this, that and the other, Later on, when it all went up, I was like, oh, sugar, that was a great move.
So are you in property now? Do you?
Yeah, definitely so, man.
Yeah? More than your own property you live in, is what I'm saying?
Yeah, I owe 1 or 2 properties, and I'm invested in other things, percentage-wise and stuff like that.
And there were 4 investments to just buy to let, and you were saying, look, I want it. And you, are you working to get rental income? Is that something that you want, or is you working it just... I wanted to appreciate investment.
I used to think it was all about rental income, and the truth is, I don't have a big property portfolio, compared to some people that sit at the table with me, But what I do have is the ability to put their portfolios together. Right. So sometimes I make just as much money as them because I'm the builder. I put their dreams together. They want to do 9 flats and make 3-4 grand a month, or make 250 grand profit at the end. I'm like, great, I got 150 in that, I got 200 grand in that. I'm laughing either way. So I haven't even got to own the property because I can build it for them. So the amount of profit they're making, I'm making my fair chunk out of that. But moving forward with it, that's what I am more into now. Is that my biggest vision now? Is that I just want to acquire and build. So my kind of when I hit my next milestone, I'm not gonna say how old I am. when I hit my next milestone, that's what I'm going for. Development flats. Right. So I want to build.
So you want the money for developing them, or do you want the money for? So you're building it for another company, or building it for yourself? What do you mean?
This would be for myself now, because I know we're jumping topics here, because but based on my age, I need to plan for retirement now, and it's definitely not state pension. I'll tell you that much. As much as one could say,
that's definitely a question I was going to ask you, but continue.
Yeah,
please.
As much as one could say, I'll probably be all right just doing what I'm doing and still get through. But no, I need to be, I need to be solid.
So you're thinking about it. That's the issue. You know what I mean? Like okay, cool. We can come back to we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that. But yeah, so your idea is to build and rent out, and you get rental income and appreciation of the values. Absolutely. Is that what you're trying to?
My idea is to hustle and do what I need to do, through my various businesses to acquire whatever I can in the bank, tax covered and paid for, and then use that money, which is worthless. Yeah, absolute worthless. Yeah, obviously, I'm sure some people are multi-millionaire. That's different. But what I've got is worthless. So the only thing I can think of to do with that is to chuck that in and build something that's going to give me something back.
That's
over
the deal.
The long run.
That's the deal in it, really. You don't want like lumps of cash. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, what's it really gonna do for you? You give it to your kid, then it's not worth what it was worth in the next 20 years or whatever. Inflation. We're going through a massive inflation issue at the moment. So like, we know that it's not what. Yeah, it's not worth the money it's printed on. Like, so.
I like to think that like we said, like we talk about Lee and that. So if we're well off and we make great money a month, I can only imagine what people are going through at this time based on inflation and where things are going up and all electric and that.
And I think about that as well. Yeah, because
people must really have it hard.
Right, to the point where because this is it is when you make a certain amount of money, you kind of forget just a little bit about what it was like when you don't have and whatever. And there was, I think the government were giving £100 to. People to help them supplement with their thingy, and they were saying, if you're calling about this, and they were making a big issue of like making sure that certain people get it at a certain time, and I was like, who's running for £100? And then I caught myself, and I was like, shit, that was me. I was running for the £100 that I needed desperately, because that changes everything. Do you know what I mean? It's a big deal. Do you know what I mean? All this inflation and stuff, it might not hurt certain people, but for some people, it's like. It's a pinch now.
If you're living on the breadline, and then, and then that hits you as well.
Paycheck to paycheck, it's like it's difficult out here, man, for sure.
It definitely is. Definitely is.
How long we got? Okay, we still got time. We're not. Pleasure. We just started. So talk to me about schooling ages. So we talked about. You had the entrepreneur mindset. You stayed on for A levels, but how was you in school? Interaction with other kids, teachers, and grades. What were you like?
So academically, I was never great. Yeah, so I wasn't the best. I remember being 14 and them telling me you have the reading ability of a 7-year-old. And I remember thinking to myself, how? This is a madness. This mind, how? Then I remember them telling me, you're dyslexic. I said, no, not me. I don't label someone like me with no terms. I want to have your terms, yeah, because my mum told me my capability is perfect. So in my mind, I was like, you cannot tell me these things. Yeah,
that's great though, and it's great that you thought about that, and it's great that you were strong enough to say that. I'm happy they didn't tell me that. I'm probably dyslexic, but I'm happy they didn't tell me at that time, because that would have made me think, I'm stupid, or I can't, whatever, and I would never have done the things that I did. Well, maybe not never, but.
I kind of think some of those things and some of those slight, not being the perfect academically, I'm really not, never have been. But what I have learned from school and going through school, so I learned that if you do knuckle down at something, I can do it. It doesn't matter what it is. Give me enough man hours on it. I'll not master it, but I'll pass. I'll pass. I won't hit the top, but I'll pass. If I need to pass, I'll pass. And if I don't need to pass, then it's irrelevant.
But that's good that you knew that. I didn't know that. No, I didn't know how to apply myself. Like the way you're saying, knuckle down. I didn't know how to do that. I thought sitting at the front of the class is enough. It's not.
Do you know what I learned, and it still stands with me today? Yeah, but in a different way. Yeah, your network becomes your net worth, and back in school is who you decided to study with. You don't pick the one who's making noise and ain't doing nothing. Pick the one who's quiet and actually knows something, and sit with them, learn with them.
I did that, and I sat at the front. However, I think it was actually like, I didn't know my style of learning. I didn't understand. It's so weird, isn't it? It's so weird. The reason why I say it's so weird is because it should be so evident of how you learn something and how you take in for information. Some people take information in different ways. You know, some people are more visual, more audio, more whatever. I now know if I had to study something, I know I could do 3-4 things and it will help me study it. I would retain the information. And when it came to an exam, I'll probably be okay. Because I learned that technique. No one showed me that in school. So all I was doing is sitting at the front, doing this, and then when the test came, I would just write whatever.
See, because I knew, obviously, from young, because I knew I wasn't great in certain subjects, I learned to pick my fights really well. So when I picked options in that, I went for like PE, I went for drama, I went for DT. I went for stuff where I could apply different areas of me that weren't necessarily
exam based or writing. Yeah, exactly same.
Like, I still came out of great grades.
Same. No, mine was terrible. Mine was terrible. But I just didn't know how to pass. Yeah. I didn't know how.
No. You know what? How can I say right? Because I got a son. That's my oldest son. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, 13. I can't tell him the truth. I told him now I know. So this is from right now. You go to school to learn how to learn.
Right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Go to school to learn how to learn.
Yeah.
That, when I reflect on it, and my bipolar way of thinking and my mindset reflects on what I gathered from school, that's it. Yeah. I learned how to learn. Right. I learned that I can actually do it. Yeah? Because I put the effort into it. Yeah. And I just apply that. I apply that anywhere.
But wasn't it the teacher's responsibility to show you how to learn? Not learn the way that they think you should learn, or pass the test the way they think you should pass the test. Shouldn't they teach you, maybe you should try this, sir, maybe you should try that?
You'd assume that is their job, and to the best of their ability they can. But with 30 children in the class, how much can you give them?
It's difficult, isn't it?
If you really want what you was explaining a few moments ago, which is, teacher giving you that one-to-one attention so deeply, go private school.
Listen, if I had the peas, but that's another question I was ask you. Okay, cool. On top of that, do any of your kids go private school? Would you ever want any of your kids to go private school?
My oldest does not go private school. My youngest daughter, there's talks now about her secondary school and whether it's going to be private or not.
She's not secondary yet?
No, she's not. She's still in infant school. So obviously, we're already thinking about, is she going to go private? I think that's the way we're going.
Okay. Why?
I've never had the experience of putting one of my children through, and I have to know if I'm going to give her better options. And I have family members who have put their children in private school, who have done well, and I see a difference. And a man of big vision, which I think I am, I've seen the difference in them, and I see the difference of where the possibility where they can go is. Granted, as well, is I have the opportunity to put her in it, and I can't see what the negative would be, because private school doesn't mean you're going to be spoon fed and you're going to wear designer clothes. That ain't the cut, because at home it ain't like that. I'm talking about for the educational purposes. Right. So obviously the educational and the social, that's different, but educational, of course it's going to be better. Classrooms is 10 kids in a classroom. Why would I want to do that for?
So say, one of the negatives, a friend of mine, and he's actually been on this podcast, has said they've had racial implications of like a teachers not treating them in a certain way because of their
why they should be there, kind of thing.
Who knows why people are racist?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, true.
But end of the day, they're not getting the same experience, or they're getting treated a certain way, maybe because of race. And I know from, even though the school that we were in, multicultural, when you think back, I don't know if you think back. I think back. I know there were certain things that was done because of my skin or way they treated me a certain way.
So watch this, yeah. Because your skin color, because of my skin color, we're always going to be treated different, within reason. Whether people can get away with it because there's ways of disguising it, and it doesn't necessarily happen all the time. Sometimes it happens a lot. You know, sometimes it happens because your shade is darker than mine, so you might get it more than me, and I might get it less, or you know. But in school is that so? In that scenario, you know, my child's gonna have to learn anyway. You're gonna
100%.
have to. You're gonna have to. So sorry that I can't. Sorry that you're gonna have to experience that in school. Sorry that if that's the case, you're gonna. But all they can be reassured is that their dad is on the ball and so is their mum.
Right.
And
That's the important part.
we notice it. It will be seriously nipped in the bud because we're the worst people. Me and my better half are the worst people to have in a room with someone who's done something wrong because we know how to talk. We know how to express. We know what's right and what's wrong. We know how to articulate it across. You know, if you're in a situation where you have that ability, children are going to be fine. And normally, if you're paying for your children to go to private school, you have some kind of edge.
But isn't there an issue whereas it comes down to confidence? Maybe this person is pushed into the corner during, say if you've got a group full of 10 kids and one of them singled out because of their race or whatever, right? Now you're pushing into a point where that kid thinks I'm not as good as these other kids. Then you're dealing with psyche. You're dealing with
but
confidence.
Then confidence is something that you shouldn't wait for them to go to school to grow. You need to start it at home. I know it's really easy to say, and it's really an old school saying. You know, it starts at home, but you know, a lot of it does start at home. You know, you do things that are confidence building from young. You don't wait till they go to school to teach them confidence. You don't wait for your school is not there. Within a degree, it is there to bring up your children, but it's not. That's not their sole job. Your job is to bring up your child. Yeah, your school's job is to educate them, and your job is to kind of like weave in between how they educate them. My son, he goes to public school. The school can't ever tell me his character come from their school. You know, it's not. It's from what goes on in the house, the conversations. You know, the conversations from early.
You can see it. You can see the kids that are either, I don't know, different, not nice, racist or whatever. You can see it comes from your parents. Like, you can see where it comes from. Do you know what I mean? And you see where the kids come from, what type of home that they come from.
You try and push confidence as much as you can. And no one has the true answer, you know. And you know, how will we, you know, okay, so would you send your child to private school, do you think?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't have kids at the moment, but
do you think that's something good?
So I'm on the brink. I'm on both sides of the fence. It's just like, yeah, I would love to. I think I think I said this before, the best case scenario for me would be to live in a nicer area than I live now, and then take him to a comprehensive school.
Okay.
But because it's a nicer area, they're probably going to be mixing with a different type of child, a different type of parent, a different type of, do you know what I mean?
Got it.
And I think that would help rather than living in ends and then they go to the closest school in ends.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? It's going to be
Which a lot of
that's
us
going
were
to be
products
different.
of our environment.
And that's what I did, yeah. So it's just you're in ends, so you go to that one because it's close.
So if my daughter didn't get the chance to go to private school, I don't think it'll be the end of the world. I think it'd just be another angle of bringing her up. But if I had the ability to, why would I not want to give her that more direct link to education? Because one of my really, really good friends told me this. He's older than me as well. He said to me, the best thing you can give your kids, and truly, except for bringing them up, the most important thing you can give them is the best education you can. Because when they reach 18, they turn their back and they're done. They move on with it. They find their partner. They live their life, you know. So I guess we're back to this thing where education is key, you know.
I feel that. I wanted to get onto talking about investments, right? And I know you're investing. And one of the things I think that not as many people as you might think are privy to is investing in watches.
Watches, right, okay.
And I know we've had a conversation before about watches, and yeah, I just want to kind of get your take on watches, and you know, so the first question would be is how did you begin investing in watches, and what brought you to say, I like to be an investor in watches?
Okay, so how I even got into watches in the first place? Along my little ventures I was doing, the end goal of a venture is, financial gain. So you got money at the end. Problem with money for me is that I realised that I wasn't good at saving it. Okay. So I found something that I found my weakness. I'd find a way to spend it. We'd be somewhere around the world. We'd be living a good life.
It's good, V.
We would.
I think that's really important. What you said there is that the reason why I say that is I was doing it from a younger age, and I wasn't buying watches. I was just buying silver and gold.
Cool. Yeah,
That's
you
it.
said this to me.
Right. And the only reason why I did that is because the money that I would spend on that, 100% I was going to throw away.
Somehow
I'm just going to throw away.
It?
Of course it does. Like, it's in your pocket. Goes. That's what it's for. Like, it's for to dash, innit? So when I was buying silver and gold, I just bought it because I know I can't go to the chicken shop with a silver coin. It's not going to happen. Or whatever it is I'm going to spend the money on, a drink and whatever. So it done that. So that's great. That's great that you saw that. So that was your thing. You said, boom, I'm going to invest.
I saw my weakness. I don't even know. I started, before it became an investment, it became a way of saving. It became a way of, also it's your network, yeah. So I've come across a certain individual who I met, and I was into watches from young, yeah. So I was into watches since I was like 15, 16. How it happened, I went to Thailand. I saw all these watches there. They were all fake. I was like, this is sick. I'm a young guy.
So what was you on then? Were you on like Aquamaster? You on like...
Yeah. So I used to have the... everyone knows about the Aquamasters. Yeah. Then you had the Aquamasters with the diamonds in it. Yeah. I bought my first Aquamaster for diamonds in Ilford Exchange for £5. Yeah. Put a down payment and paid it off. Sick. Diamond Aquamaster. My brother had the same one. Yeah. And that's where the kind of passion started. Because... our part of East London, it was so closely linked to Essex, yeah, that, a little kettle here and there, it was quite cool. Yeah. Anyway, but no one could ever afford. We don't have no dad to buy us the real Rollie in that. Yeah. So, eventually, I was really into watches from young. I probably bought, like, loads of snides when I was in Thailand, and I thought, this is really cool. And then, as you got older, it was a natural, I kind of fell into it a bit more. But funny enough, the first watch I ever bought as an investment or a way of saving, absolutely didn't like it.
Interesting. So you didn't
like it at all?
So you bought it purely for investment?
Yeah. But that's when I knew my mind was right.
But what type of investment were you... when you say investment, was it, I'm going to buy this watch to sell it later, or I'm buying it because I know the value is going to go up, or I'm buying it because someone told me? What was the idea behind...
The idea behind it was that in Europe... I'll tell you what watch it was, yeah? It was a Daytona, stainless steel Daytona. Yeah, brand new. Right? Stickers, everything. If you're in a watch world, you get it. Good friend of mine told me, listen, it's a really good deal. He got it from the main dealer. He got it for like, half the price I bought it from him for. So I had to truly believe. I gave him double the money that he bought it for. Right? So, bought the watch. I thought to myself, well, it's not going to, hopefully it doesn't go down, and potentially it could go up. Right. I thought, let's give it a go. I went in the safe and off you go. Right, it wasn't even 2 years, man. That watch doubled and tripled. Doubled and tripled. Look, what's funny about it, yeah, is that when it went from, I'll tell you the amounts. So I might as well tell you the amounts. It takes the fun out.
Have you got it?
So, that same watch? No. I'll tell you the reason why I haven't got it. So I'll tell you it's a sad story why I haven't got it, but there's a good financial reasoning behind it. So, 15 grand I paid for it. Okay. Yep. And I remember it went up to 16, then went up to 17, 18, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and we can keep on going all the way up to the 40s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, throughout, this is within 2 years.
2 years?
I'm going to make sure I've got this right. Maybe 3 years. Let's just say 3 years.
3 years up to from 15 to like 30, 40.
Correct.
Wow. Yeah, that's good.
I couldn't have predicted that.
I don't know who could.
But yeah, there you go. That's it. But along the journey, obviously, I bought other stuff because now I started having interest in it. So every time I make a bit of money, I'll be like, well, I've got to buy another watch. Because I couldn't buy a house. They wouldn't give me a mortgage. Yeah. They wouldn't give me a mortgage, bro.
Yeah.
I've got 20 grand in the bank. They don't want to give me a mortgage. I'm like, oof. I'm going to spend it, aren't I? Here we go, you know. Brazil looks good. You know, this looks good. That looks good. You know, buy another Jeep. No. It's just, I come away from that. I've done so much of that. I was so blessed in the younger years that I realised all that was just absolutely gas and that's no good. So, along come another watch, bought that. Every time I made a lump of money, bought that. And before you know, I had a mini portfolio. And then, you know, within that little... Within the boom, everyone knows that the boom is like a 3-year span. You're talking about everything doubling. Yeah, and if not certain pieces tripling. You know, and that's how it started. You know, and, you know, that gave me the leeway to take those triples and put them into big things, bigger ones.
Right. So what did you do with when you sold them? Did you do something with the capital? Did you do something with the money? Were you like...
So...
Or were you just like...
I would like to say so far that... I haven't needed to do nothing with the capital, no, because this is not my. That's beyond the bread and butter money. That's your, you make 100%. 60% goes to your living and your whatnot. At your 40%, you got 20% you bank. That's my 20% I'm banking. I've still got 20% living. I'm still doing other bits on 20%. Yeah. That's over their money, so to speak. So when I did sell them, I come up with this rule and this theory that I'm only, maturity starts to kick in because the amounts are up now. So you're not talking about, grand and 10 grand. You're talking about money. Yeah. So now you're like, okay, so if I cash this out for 100 grand, what am I going to do with the money? You're looking around saying,
where are you going to put it in? Yeah.
There ain't actually, I don't know nothing about the stock market. Yeah. I'm not a trader. That sounds great. It would be really stupid for me to go and buy a Bentley or a Ferrari or something, which you probably couldn't buy for that. And then it just led to me thinking, right, I'll come up with this rule. I'm only selling if I'm buying another one.
Nice.
So I only liquidate the asset to buy another asset in the same genre.
That's smart.
And then what I've done from there is I moved up brands.
Okay, so name me the top 3 brands of the... Well, just for everyone, like what other brands, because everyone knows Rolex is number 1.
Well,
when I say number 1, it's the first one that comes to people's mind. People are gonna say Rolex, but there's a couple others. So what would the others around?
Let's not put them in order because people.
No order at all.
Okay, cool.
The top.
Rolex, yes, most definitely. Audemars PK. Patek Philippe.
They're like the top 3 though, aren't they, really?
Hold up.
AP, Patek Philippe, and Rolex. Not top 3.
No, within reason, but...
when I'm saying top 3, are we talking about something that holds value? Because I heard Hublot is not...
No. Okay, so watch this, right, bro. So Hublot, and no disrespect to the brands at all.
No, of course
they don't hold the weight. They're not pack leaders. So when I came into the game, I came in learning from someone much older than me, by the way. So my knowledge on watches, I would like to think, is quite big. Mm-hmm. But that's because the person I learned it of is ancient. Right. And he's been dabbling in watches like 2 times before my lifetime. Mm-hmm. So he told me the history. I know the history. I know the history of Pateks. I know how they progressed. I know why they've discontinued. Why they are the shape they are. The lot. So back then when I was playing, and I first started out, and my portfolio was doubling. Rolex was doing well. Patek was the pack leader. Mm-hmm. Richard Mille, which is an important brand to name because they are way on the map.
That's so interesting. I just forgot about Richard Mille.
Because. The truth in the matter is, and you only know about Richard Mille when you acquire the wealth to have a reason to know about that.
Yeah, to hear the name, to be like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we all know.
What's the point? Yeah.
It's nice to have, it's nice to have a Rollie. Yeah, it's quite classy to have a Patek. When you got a Richard on, you're just in the next league.
Yeah.
It's just the next league. The figures.
It's slightly different.
The figures are your 2-bedroom apartments in London. And
100%.
So are your Pateks though.
Yeah.
So the pack leaders are probably, I would say there's 4 in the pack, but I think they more fall into a little bit of, I don't know, man. This is maybe a biased statement, but Rolex definitely for everybody, man. Rolex is a lovely. I think there's something. If you can't find a watch you don't like within the Rolex range, I think I don't know what to really say.
You don't like watches, most likely.
Yeah, man. You're not really in it, man.
You don't really like watches.
AP, Audemars PK. I just think they've got it right now. They're coming for, basically, I believe AP's coming for Patek. So Patek, let's put Richard Mille to the side, yeah? Patek was a pack leader, yeah? something happened in the AP family, because they're a family AP, it's still a family-owned business, yeah?
Okay.
They're coming for Patek. Their designs are they're beautiful. Their prime pieces are elegant, all-round. Like, you would want one. You would want one. If you saw the collection...
Desirable.
The desirability is massive. You know, Patek, you can't even get a Patek anyway, you know? Unless you're buying it on the grey market, good luck, you know? So I would say the top three is what you said, and then... Yeah, Richard just doesn't have there's not as much Richard doesn't have as big as history as the other brands do.
Okay.
Now, someone could slander me for that and say I'm totally wrong, but to my knowledge, I mean, being on the map, Richard hasn't been on the map as long as the
Like
other
that.
brands.
So if someone wanted to get like a starter pack for like, oh boom, I want to start. What would I start with?
Well, this all depends on what your financial situation is like, truth be told. So give me an indication. So let's
That's
just
a
say
good question. Okay. So say I'm not elite. By the way,
all right, fair enough.
I'm not elite.
So
I
you're
work.
in the 90 bracket. You're not
No,
okay.
I work.
Right, okay.
I've saved a little bit of money, and like you said, I don't want to spend it. I don't really want to be a landlord. I want to put it in something. I don't know nothing about stock.
Okay.
How much would be a start on a watch that is I'm going to benefit from in the long run, if that's the...
So obviously, you know, one can never predict the market, but let's just say what
course.
a safe investment is. Yeah, you know,
Okay.
it's going to be Rolex.
Okay, so it's going to be rolling.
It's kind of it's a financially driven question. Reply, sorry, because of affordability.
Right.
So with Rolex, you know, it's the only thing one could afford. If you're under the 90 grand bracket, you ain't affording no AP.
Right.
And you're not walking into the AP shop and getting an AP.
Mm-hmm.
So just to give you a little bit of how, you know, just for the people who maybe don't know,
Right.
these watches are worth a third if you can buy them. A third of its value if you can buy them directly from the AD. Yeah, the authorized dealer
So they're worth a third when you buy them.
directly. So if you go
Right.
into Audemars Piguet
Directly, you know you can get 2/3
Correct.
more. When?
when you sell it, so you could walk
When
out
can,
the
when,
door.
when can you sell it? That walk out the door
You
and say,
so
Yeah, my guy.
so I'll give you I'll give you a scenario. You could walk into AP. Let's just say miraculously, you wandered into AP with a glowing thing above your head. Walked in there and said, "Yeah, listen, I would like a I don't know, Royal Oak, a grey dial, 41 mil. You know, I'll have that, please, thank you." And she'll be like, "Yeah, I've wrapped up for you, Mr.
problem.
Desilva. Wrapped up for you." Walk out the shop, walk across the road to Watchfinder, drop that on the counter and say, "Yeah, listen, I'll sell that one." So you just pay 20 grand for it, yeah? In the AD. So drop it to Watchfinder. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, Mr. Desilva, how would you like your money?" I said, "How much you can offer me?" Like, "Oh, 40 grand. So you just made double your money by walking across the
street.
road. But you can never go back into that AD again.
right.
So you just, but maybe that 20 grand is life changing for you and it's worth it. You know, someone with a better mind would be more tactical with that.
Right. So why can't you go back into the shop after that? Why you're not allowed to sell it? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Watches are for keeping. Patek Philippe, for example, is a brand that's, you know, you buy it for the next generation. They
Okay.
don't want you selling their watches to the grey market.
Right.
They want you keeping it and enjoying it. You know, that's why there's such a demand for them in the grey market, because you can't walk into the AD and buy them. And yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So the starter pack, you would
Oh
say.
yeah, sorry, yeah, okay.
Let's go back to the starter pack.
All right, okay. So it's got to be Rolex
Right.
because affordability. So what I'm trying to say to you is that, you know, I can't. There's no point in me talking to you AD because you wouldn't get one from there. So let's talk about grey market stuff. You'd have to go for a Rolex because it's the most affordable. Yeah, you'd have to go sports models. You'd be 17 to 25 grand. 25
Sports
grand.
model for
Rolex
17
to 25 grand.
to 25 grand. That's a start. That's a good start. You can start less. I know there's cheaper.
There is cheaper.
But you're saying that's not really gonna.
If you're buying the cheaper ones, you'd be expecting to lose 2.5 grand on them when you sell them back. So instead, if it's
Lose?
not bad, yeah, because the cheaper ones, they're not. The reason why they're cheap is because they're not as desirable. Lovely to wear. Listen, anything under, you can buy stuff for. I would love to be able to put my phone out and show you, but you know, you can buy stuff from 8.5 grand with diamonds in the bezel, 41 mil steel, grey dial, beautiful watch, men's watch. You can buy, women can buy, Jubilee bracelets with champagne dials with little diamonds in it, all within the 10 to 12 grand range. Let's say, yeah,
that's nice. Are they valuable later on, or are they?
No. No, and they've got diamonds in it. Remember I said there's diamonds in it? No, unfortunately, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say it will always fetch good money, fair money. So, a Chinese person once told me it's the one thing you can take anywhere in the world and sell.
100%.
As good as gold.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you're walking anywhere with a Rolex, they know what it is, they're going to buy it if it's real. So,
but most people would think, I've got a Rollie, it goes up in value. If you just spoke to a layperson and they go, I've got a Rollie, I bought it for this price, definitely I'm going to have to sell it for, I'm going to be able to sell it for another price.
If only that was the truth, man. It's not the truth, unfortunately. So, really, unfortunately, really, you are between the 17 to 25. But in real terms, in the watch world, that's now young money.
Yeah,
that's not even a lot of money.
It's a star pack, bro. Like I said, it's a star pack.
What would it take? A working professional, they should be able to save that kind of money 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Quicker, great. I'm just being very fair to the open, 3-4 years. Mm-hmm. And then what you could do with that money, for example, say if you couldn't get your mortgage for your house, you've saved all this money, it's in the bank, you're getting itchy fingers, you put it into a watch, throw it in a safe, it's your mortgage money. When you get your mortgage approved, throw it into the shop, sell it, there's your mortgage.
So you said throw it into your safe. Do you wear all of your watches?
Oh, absolutely not, man.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, the watch game's changed a lot, like we'll be in 2022. So do I wear all of my watches? I'm not a celebrity. Yeah, I don't have the, I can't. Social circles are really important.
Okay.
So a lot of my, I'm a very family-oriented person. My family, they ain't got watches like that. We're about family. When I go out of my other lot, when I go out with people who I work with and stuff, I do enjoy wearing them. Not as much as I would like to. But then I have spurs where I do.
Because I've heard the idea of having a relationship with the watch, and some watches need to be worn and wound and that type of thing. So it gives character to the watch because it's been worn. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's really true. But then that's all depends on what kind of watches you have. So, if you've got pieces in your collection that are... Look, it all comes down to your financial status, right? So watch this. So say if your net worth, let's throw a figure out there, right? Let's say if your asset net worth is 100 grand, yeah? But then you're going to be a bit worried about wearing your 50 grand watch out because that's half of your asset. You're going to be like, I'm wearing around half my money on my wrist. Yeah. You're looking around like, you're not invincible, you're not Superman.
Right.
And the day and age we live in.
Anyone can be food, bro.
Let's quickly jump, yeah? The reason why we don't wear as people, you won't see watches as much. They're too valued. The great thing about, I like traveling my watch. So you find me in Dubai. I love being in Dubai because I can walk around Dubai day and night.
No problem.
Not worry about nothing.
No problem.
Because unless you're looking for the death sentence, you're not really playing those kind of games out there.
Yeah.
Not saying it doesn't happen.
Of course.
But not as easy as London. Yeah. Something happened in Chelsea a few nights ago where... guy got his head cut like from hair to hair because he was wearing a watch that's worth 40 grand. Then they killed him.
For 40 grand?
They didn't even... The story's getting worse than that. There's another... in lockdown, Harrods was closed. There's some tourist where uni child, from China, outside Harrods. He got stabbed and killed for 6 grand Submariner.
Huh?
Reason being, social media, everybody knows about watches now. So when people see it, they're like, that's worth money. Like, people are killing people for these things. Now, the reason why people even listening to this might not hear it is because you are not in the watch world. If you're in the watch world, you realise that it's not all fun. That's why it becomes... Watches have become... Well, for me, they've become more of... I used to like them. I'd look at them. Maybe I'd wear one or two a bit more than I would. Then I realised that it's lost its fun because it's just become... Number one, it's become too much of a strong asset.
Okay.
To wear around.
To wear, I think.
To
that's
wear
the
around,
issue.
you can wear something. You wear what you can afford to lose. Let's do it like that.
That's a good statement.
Your starter pack one, that's cool. You got your 20 grand watch on, but when you start noticing that everyone's noticing your 20 grand watch, You know, you got this 20 grand watch on. You're just don't forget, you're not even in the elites. You're not even if you're not at the 90 grand and plus range, it means you're not balling. You haven't got a house. You haven't got a big car. You're not up there yet, unfortunately. That's the truth in it. So a lot of people are going to see that watch, you know. They're going to, you know, you might get yourself in a bad situation. Personally, you know, you wear it where you think it's where you can be smart with it, and you know, around the right people, and the rest of the time, you know, you sort yourself out safe or something like that, and you enjoy it like that.
So, what's your like favorite type of watch to invest in and to wear?
My favorite type of watch to wear up to today, without a doubt, is still Rolex. Listen, I've got some nice watches. And Richard Mille, obviously. Oh, no, it's really... Okay. Let's say Rolex.
Yeah.
Let's say Rolex. Because Rolex have still...
What type of Rolex?
For me, I'm going to name a few that I think of for me. Size permitting as well, yeah? I'm not a small guy. So, 41mm discontinued rose gold ruby dial.
Rose gold, you like the rose gold?
Rose gold, of course, man. Go
the brown
skin.
skin.
Yeah, come on. You gotta love a little bit of rose gold.
I get.
You gotta love a bit of rose gold.
I get.
Yeah, I would say yellow gold, ruby dial, beautiful watch as well. Sky Dweller, again, that's a rose gold watch. Let me think what else. Really. I like. There's quite a cheap watch that I like. Well, I'd say it's in the lower part. It's beyond. It's not worth anything basically.
Okay, but you like the look of it and
beautiful watch. And it's if you want to enjoy wearing something, it's the watch I think anyway. 41mm still Jubilee bracelet. It's got a grey. It's called a rhodium dial. Sorry, like a rhodium dial with dots, diamond dots around it. Nice. It's a nice watch. 10 grand, 11 grand, 12 grand. Beautiful watch. Looks like 25 grand watch.
Right.
Wear it right. Beautiful watch. You know, you can don't mind if you scratch it. You don't mind. That's something to wear.
That's your favourite type of watch to wear?
Yeah, definitely.
What's your favourite type of watch to invest? What type of...
My favourite type to invest is Patek Philippe.
Why?
It's exciting. So
what's exciting about it?
The movement possibilities are ridiculous.
So you're talking about how much you can earn in a short space of time? Is that what you're referring to? So Patek's the one.
But also Richard Mille. I have less experience with Richard Mille. I am into Richard Mille, but you know, when you've got millions upon millions, then you can start. Oh, I shouldn't say that, man. You can have $1 million and play with Richard Mille, you know. But Richard Mille's a quarter ago, right? £250,000 ago. Really, for the ones you want to be into, and they can jump like Patek's. You know, if you was into Richard Mille 2 years ago and you bought a collection of them, you'd be up right now. Differently.
Nice. So what watches would you say to stay away from?
What watches would I say to stay away from?
Which might lead me to the next question.
So let's just say this. We say this more like an investment one, isn't it? Or you know, if you want to enjoy,
because we're talking about investing, and this is the reason why I'm speaking about any of this. We're not talking about fashion pieces. We're talking about
anything else but them white brands. I don't mean Hublot. It's a no.
It's interesting though, Hublot, and people were gassing over Hublot. You know, a couple of years ago it was a thing. I'm just saying it was a thing.
You know what? They came in and went out. Because what happens? Fashion is normally pushed in this country. Hublot was pushed because of the footballers.
Right.
Yeah. Rolex is a push because of the Chinese and the Hong Kong market. Okay. So Rolex has its status not because of this country, not because the footballers rock it, but Hong Kong rates it. Yeah. Yeah. Rolex is a base for the Asian market. That's their biggest client. You know, Hublots and that. Some Hublots are really cool. I had a few Hublots back in the day, and now you can pick them up cheap. If you want a nice watch to wear, you can pick them up quite cheap. Right.
But you wouldn't go for investment purposes. You wouldn't say, boom.
Not to my knowledge. Not to,
but that's what we're talking about. It's just whatever you know. Yeah, whatever.
Knowledge, I can't tell you one Hublot to be worth buying. My god sister, she just turned QC. Yeah, she turned Queen Council, and she was showing me a watch the other day, a Hublot. She thinking about buying a Hublot, and I was like, that's the worst watch to spend your money on. You might as well go put that in red, personally, unless you like it. So Hublot, no. What's the other one? I've even forgot them. Hublot. There's another one like Hublot. See, no ratings. Can't even remember it. You know,
So you would stay away from, you kind of stay away from those
yeah,
and not
Vashon
really.
and all that. You know,
Yeah, Aquamaster, you don't really.
no, but they're all fun watches. I have a big. Listen, don't get it. I'll tell you one thing. I have a big Casio G-Shock collection.
Okay, G-Shock back in the day. It's a big thing, you know.
I've got one now.
Yeah.
So G-Shock and Casio, I've got a massive collection. I've got clear, red, khaki, tan, because I wear those watches more than I wear my watches. I can wear them, they're enjoyable, and they're actually still really nice. You know, but besides them, there's you know, I wouldn't say there's any point. You know.
So what would you be your viewpoint on bust downs? Bust down. Remember we spoke about that previously. Yeah. How do you feel about bust downs? Yeah, give me the rundown on bust downs. And what is a bust down?
Bust downs. That's a watch that comes from the AD in its natural metal. So be it stainless steel.
AD
so from the manufacturer, whatever metal it comes out the manufacturer from, they put it doesn't come with diamonds. Yeah. Then aftermarket, you set diamonds into it. Okay. Yeah, and then that's what we call bust down. Right. So let's just say one scenario is that, let's say Rolex. Say, you know, Rolex comes out of the manufacturer in the Rolex headquarters and it's got no diamonds in it. Just say it's a stainless steel watch. Next to that, the same manufacturer, and then we bust that down. So we put diamonds in it, yeah?
Right.
But then the manufacturer decides to put his diamonds in it. Well, his watch is worth proper money, ours is not.
Right.
Because they start saying the clarity's better, it's Rolex diamonds. It's probably all the same stuff, but the clarity.
Probably,
so
yeah, but they can say, yes, guy put the diamonds in, or I put the diamonds in.
It's going to be better. Theirs is going to be nicer, more refined. But these days, I'll be honest.
Also, they're going to have designers. They're going to have professional designers to say and setters to say, boom, this is this. And you're going to be just picking whoever you think can put this in, right?
But the truth is, because we can't take away from an important fact, yeah, the truth is, these days, the proper bust downs, like, you got companies out there like A Jewelers, yeah, you see their diamond work, you wouldn't even want the original Rolex one, you'd want their diamond work. It's so good. So,
okay.
My opinion with bust downs, if you've got a watch collection already, so your collection's up, you know, you've got a few pieces, 5-6 pieces in your collection, and you want something pretty to enjoy, you know, you're going to Ibiza, you're going to Dubai, you're going to Miami, you know, I wouldn't say there's anywhere to enjoy it in England, because there isn't, personally. Okay. Personal opinion, unless you're a rap star, movie star, or something like that, you're involved in, you know, the truth is, for me, I don't see where you would wear it that wouldn't attract the right attention.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm thinking all the places you think you could, anyone can go there, yeah. Anyone.
Price that watch. No, so
you go Mayfair, you still get jacked in Mayfair, bro.
Then get one. Then get one. Why not? Who doesn't like a bit of glistening diamonds? Yeah, they're beautiful things. I reckon they're really nice. And I've got one. Yeah, you know, it's wicked. But where can I wear it? You know,
nowhere. It looks crazy as
well. You can't pop to the carvery on a Sunday or to the steakhouse in the cellar.
Put petrol in your car. It's no good.
But you know, if you're in somewhere a bit more nicer with the sun, definitely.
Yeah.
But investment wise, no. Yeah, you'll lose 20-30% of your money.
Your overall investment idea for watches is to buy, hold till it gets to a certain value, and then buy something bigger and better.
Correct.
Right. Okay. So then, would you say, how long would you hold a watch for? What's like a general period for how long before you're ready to do something like that?
So it depends on your this is independent your own independent financial situation. So say for example with me, right? So let's just say I've got a project I want to do. Mm-hmm. Say the project needs, I don't know, project might need £500,000.
Yep.
I need to start thinking where that money's coming from. So at that point you start thinking, well, maybe I need to liquidate some watches, or maybe I need to do this. And that's the point in which you start calling for them. Or you might have to get your mortgage. You know, times come, the wife's having a baby, you're moving out. Well, that startup investment piece you bought for 17 to 25 grand, you might have to think, right, I need to sell this for the deposit. But so, you know, my opinion is going to be this. If you I say buy it as a way of saving, and if you can enjoy it, if you get a chance to wear it, enjoy it, great.
Yep.
But only liquidate it when there's something sufficient to liquidate it for.
Yeah.
You don't liquidate it because all your man them are going to Dubai to do a 20 grand holiday.
Or just because it's gone up. It's up, so I'm going to think it's like...
But if it's smart, if it's gone up, listen, I'm not a great person. I don't have enough experience of how to sell at the top. But say if you sell at the top, say it's gone up and you're like, right, there's 10, 20 grand in it, great. If you're going to sell it, just before you sell it, know what you're doing with the money.
But is there ups and downs? Is there...
Most definitely.
It's worth this and now it's worth...
Yeah, because, well, it isn't like stocks where it goes like it's daily. Yeah? But what I will say is this, yeah? So, for example, in contradiction to everything we're talking about here, the market's crashed.
But does it ever pick up? Is there ever a point where... So, look at this. I look at how I invest. I try and look at one of the best investors, Warren Buffett, right? I look at him and he's famously said his best selling time is never. That's the best period to sell. Never, right?
Okay.
And that's because generally, if you look at the whole stock market over the last 200 years, it goes up, right? So if you bought here, if you waited 200 years...
It's going up.
Right. Is it similar with watches? Does it crash at some point and then the market comes a bit more buoyant and things change and then that same watch, which is lost 5K, is now up 20? Does that ever happen?
No. I can't say that necessarily.
And obviously you don't have charts and whatever, but just from your experience.
Yeah, exactly that. So I'm gonna simply say that, if it goes up, there's a good chance it's gonna come down. If it goes down, there's a good chance it's gonna go back up.
Right.
I can't. It's a bit even difficult to even answer that question.
Right.
To be really honest with you, but all I'm saying is that you shouldn't lose too much of your money. Look, if your watch money was in cash, you would lose more due to inflation and the drop of the currency than you would in the drop of that.
Right.
In the bulks we're talking about. Look, if someone said no millionaire or someone with a lot of money is ever going to turn around and say to you, I've got 300 billion in the bank.
Yeah.
They're not going to say the figure in the bank. I know it's a mad figure.
Yeah, but no one has cash like that. Like no one.
Alan Sugar was
0%.
He said something real cool the other day, and it's just factual. He's like, what can I write a check for? He said I probably could write a check for roughly about 100 mil. Yeah, and he's like, okay, cool. But then, that's not a lot of money for someone like that. If he needed to, he could write a check for,
but he
500
never
mil.
need to, exactly.
He could take the assets.
Right.
Because he would know that.
But what's the point of having more than 100 mil where you have 500 million in the bank eroding?
Yeah, exactly. Right,
what would be the point of that?
There is no.
You're doing yourself a disjustice by saying, I've got loads of money in the bank.
Yeah, let's just hit a simple point, yeah? Say you got 100 grand in the bank, right? Your bank only insures you up to 80,000.
So to have 100 grand in the bank wouldn't really make sense.
No, simple maths here, right? So 100 grand in the bank only insures you up to £80,000. I know I'm not trying to say the world's going to end and the bank's going to break, but you got the more money you start getting, you start reading these little things, Like when Mr. Sir Alan Sugar has 100 mil in the bank and he's only insured up to 80, come on, that's why you start diversifying into assets, things that you control, because the more you can control your financial situation is probably better.
So that makes sense. So did you so for like the last question about watches, do you ever see any value in when they do like collaborations, they'll do like Ferrari and Breitling, or do you know what I mean? Do you ever see is there ever value in those kind of limited pieces like that?
I'm gonna say, unless you're talking about, the answer is no. But
so that means there is a criteria.
There is one collab. But based on that, I have to mention something because it'll be you'd pick up my knowledge if I didn't know. Jacob and Co.
Jacob.
Jacob and Co. He's independent, obviously. First of all, he collabs with everybody.
Okay.
He collabs with Bugatti. He collabs with Ferrari. This one, that one. He's the only person who collabs, and his watches are worth M&a-half, 2 M's, 2.5, 3.3, 800, 700 if you're lucky.
Wow.
And if you're really famous, he might design you a watch. So, and all the big chandelier pieces that you see, like if you think of Floyd Money Mayweather, everyone should know who Money Mayweather is, big boxer obviously.
Yeah.
His piece is worth 18 million he has. Yeah, he's a chandelier piece. And it's made by Jacob and Co. It's actually it's known as the most expensive piece in the world. Don't bite me to that. But close to one of the most expensive pieces in the world. 18 mil on a watch. You know, like Rick Ross has got a version of it that's 3 million.
Yeah.
It looks like Money Mayweather's one, but it's 3 million. And Money Mayweather's one, 18 million. Difference is the diamonds. Yeah, because it's a chandelier piece. Yeah, it's pure diamonds. Made by Jacob & Co.
I hear that. So there are some kind of collaborations, but generally, nah. So then, so what you are saying, then there is a criteria to invest in certain type of watches. Do you know what I mean? You could say that there is a type, a brand, price bracket. There is a. You can't just go into. You can't just go to eBay and say someone's got a secondhand Rollie and just say, boom, I got $1,000. It's gonna be worth. Do you know what I mean? 5. It doesn't work like that. That's what you're saying. It's fine.
But I reckon just around like watches in general, if you don't mind me saying, yeah, like if you're into watches and it excites you and you get some enjoyment out of wearing some of them, and a smart way of saving, as good as gold, in my opinionated, but my opinion, as good as gold, put your money in it.
100%. Like you said before, it's the one thing. You could go to a different country, you have a Rolex on you, you're out of luck, you ain't got no money, and then you took off your watch and said, look, boom, I need somewhere to stay, I need whatever.
I need to say a quick story, yeah? Just a quick story, how I knew how serious the watch game was. One day, brokering a deal, a conversation in the night time, right? Big conversation, really important person in my network. Scenario, he needed X amount of money. I'm like, wow. He said to me, listen, I'm serious, I need the money. I'm like, I need to buy this thing off of him. There's no way he's offered me to this. He needs the money because he's going to liquidate this thing to me in the scenario that what he's buying, he's gone to the clouds with. Right. Yeah? Grand chimes and all that. And let's get into other things, yeah? Other categories of watches. He needs this money. I made the next phone call the next morning and liquidated my watch in 2 hours. That is a lump of money to liquidate in 2 hours on a phone call and an hour trip down the road, and the money's in your account straight away. There's not too many things you can do like that unless you've got a lump of gold. Yeah, you know, that's the good thing about watches. You can liquidate them quite quickly.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's great. Yeah, that's good to know because that's what it is. In the end of the day, you really wanna. Reason why I'm talking about it is to just educate people a little bit to understand that. There is a game. There is an idea behind it. It isn't just, you know what I mean, just buying watches, just something that's nice, something that looks nice, that feels nice. There is kind of rules to the game, and you kind of have to be a student of it to make it happen. It's not just, and I think that's with anything, isn't it? Anything that's worth doing, you're probably gonna have to put a little bit of work into it, and it's not just, you know, going to eBay and buying yourself the first Rollie you see, you know.
London Watch Show.
Say again, what London
Watch Show.
Okay,
yeah,
so
it's new to our country. It's new to England in general. It's 3 times a year. It's on. It started last year. Google it. It's a Grosvenor Hotel. Just go there if you're into watches.
Dope.
You just, you know, it's a good day out.
Retirement. We kind of hit it on earlier. Would you see yourself? How do you see yourself getting income or having income after the age of 65 or? You know, retirement age, whatever that is. Okay, cool. It's getting later and later. But
I know. So, first of all, I think it's a madness to retire that late. I think if you're gonna, you never really have to retire until your body physically stops you. So first, that's the first thing. But you know, income wise, oh man, it's just got to be real estate. It's got to be. I know in America it's property. You know, it's got to be property. You know.
Okay. That's how you see yourself.
Yeah, for me, most definitely. What I see myself is this. I see myself as 1 or 2 plots, you know, 10, 15, 20 flats on a plot, you know, income from all of them.
Right.
Plots played out, the plots and the build paid out right by my investments I make through the next 10 years.
Right.
So it's pure income, you know, and then when I hit retirement, hopefully somewhere I can strategize that tax wise, so that's just full income. So
you're saying it was as a cash. So you're going to get cash flow from the rental income, and that's going to sustain your living. Correct. Okay, so you're going to stop working, and then your money's going to be put into those investments for you to make money.
My working now is I'm working. My work is to design that.
Right.
And as soon as that's up and running, ready to retire.
So you don't really see yourself saying, because some people do the other way of like, I make this money, arbitrary number, 2 million.
Right.
And then now I can retire because I've made the 2 million.
What, in the bank kind of clear?
Right. And then I just spend it until, you don't really see it like that? As a number?
No, not a number, because it would never work. I know it's never we're gonna be back to this thing again where the money in the bank's not gonna last. You know, you're gonna be old and fobby, and your nephew's gonna come along. You're gonna give him a 50 in that venture there. You're gonna give them a quarter. So you're gonna be vulnerable. Before you know, you're gonna gamble a bit because of emotions. You might divorce. Cash is not king in sustainability. It's not. Physical things that takes a while to sell. It's more sustainable, so your the decisions aren't so quick. You know, you want things where, okay, you need 100 grand. Let's just say you need 100 grand and you're older. You can't just, as you get older, you don't want your to get like this. You have to be able to think about it and think twice about it, 3 times about it, and decide it's a bad idea. Because now you're old. You know.
Yeah.
It's my theory on it, I guess.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's just that some people have like a number and they're like, oh yeah, this is my fucking number. I'm just gonna.
Do you want my fucking number?
Go ahead.
10 million. I promise you.
That's fair.
It's
That's fair. Okay, so you're telling me, so then if, for whatever reason, whatever you got going on, your investments, whatever, and I said, I'll write you a check, 10 milli, give me all that cash out.
right.
Cash out all the stuff you got, all the things you got on your business, your whatever. 10 million, you're happy to go and live in Bermuda or wherever it is. Yeah, yeah, man. If I gave you the 10 mil, you're happy to do that.
10 million is a lot of money, yeah, man.
It's a decent amount of money.
10 million is a hell of a lot of money.
It's a decent amount
A
of
million is
money.
not a lot of money anymore.
At all.
A million. People sitting there gassing.
Bro,
I want to make it.
people-
Want to make a milli.
People have a house worth $1 million round the corner, and they ain't even tried. There's an accident. Someone gave it to them, or they inherited it. Or it's $1 million. It's not.
You need, you know, 10 million gives you, 40, 50 grand a year in the Bahamas, living like a king. But at the same time, that's boring. Like,
That's the
let's
thing.
say it lasts a year.
What your lifestyle? What you really want your lifestyle to be
looking
like?
to get that
Cash flow is good.
I like cash flow. Plus, it gives you something to manage, something to still sort out. When you get older, you have to fix up, and new people coming in the properties. And
So what do you have for your property now? So you have a couple of properties. Are you looking to cash those ones out, sell them, and then put that towards your dream of the
not.
So what's the property?
So I would say that what would be the point of selling what I have for that? It does for my setup, not for everybody. For me, that would make sense. Independently, I would say that no. I would say that other assets. The deal is to build up other assets to for that goal. Because what happens if that goal doesn't work?
Right. Yeah, of
contingency.
course. Yeah, you gotta have that and that. I'm always and. I'm not either or. I'm not either or person. I'm an and person.
I'm never gonna, my miss sometimes says to me, I would say to her something like, it's we say we went on holidays and this and that's going on. We just built the house, we done loads of stuff. We spent enough money, yeah. And she'll turn around and say to me, I'll say to her, sorry, just to let you know, things, just calm down. Things are tight, man. Like, and she'll turn, and she like, what? How tight? I'm like, well, I just mean like stop booking everything and doing everything, and because the truth is, I think because at one point in my life I was poor, I'm a bit aware that just stop. You don't need to spend.
Can I say something?
Go on.
The idea of being broke never leaves you.
Okay.
I could so I will sometimes think about how much food I'm gonna eat, possibly because it might run out. That's still,
Okay.
bro. Listen, everything in my fridge is like what, £20 max. Like, so what item it costs more than £20 in my fridge? What, steak? Like, so obviously I can get it again, but in my brain it says, bro, it's gonna run out. You need to be careful. So I think it's something that just doesn't leave you. It doesn't leave you. It's something that's made you in the way that you are, and that's just what it is.
I'll totally understand that, man. I believe I know that things can spiral out of control. So, and I really am a believer of learning from the people who have failed around me. And these are great people, and they failed because maybe they didn't have them to teach someone like me. They learned it, so I've learned from their mistakes. I'd never walk in a room knowing it all, but I will suck up the good knowledge.
Right.
Most definitely. And
You seem like that type of person though, to be like, yeah, I'm gonna listen, I'm gonna learn.
Yeah, because I know, you have to, in order to be successful in whatever you do, first of all, you need to know that, you're not you can be, and in your mind you are. You're the done, you're the top of the food chain and everything. Yeah. But, there's nothing more smarter than settling yourself and learning off of people's experiences, because you're going to get there quicker. And I really believe that I've got a lot of places quicker, much quicker years ago because of that. And that alone, that allowed me to kind of make advanced decisions that no one was thinking of, yeah. So I guess that I feel like there's a point I didn't answer though. I feel like there's a point you said to me and I didn't answer clearly, which I'm not happy about.
So I asked you about being poor and just learning from other people. Was that what I said?
I was making a situation to you. So my missus was telling me, I told her that, you know what, things are tight. We can't be doing all madness. And she said to me, how tight? Right. And I remember telling her, I said to her, well, not that tight. It's never going to be.
How tight's tight?
Yeah. Blessings. And you know what? What a great position to be in, but due to hard work, is that it's never going to be. I disbelieve it's never going to be tight enough where my fridge is not going to be full enough for everybody to eat.
Yeah, 100%.
You're always going to eat.
Always, man. And for me, it's like I'm gonna go out there and get it. Otherwise, you mad. Like
the minimum, as far as I'm concerned, is the minimum. The bottom of the pile needs to be, your family can eat, and your bills can be paid. Yeah, you don't have to have anything more than that. Yeah, your borderline don't even need gas. I'm not having it. Yeah, find another way. Put another blanket on. Yeah, that should be, And I told her we're never gonna get lower than that. We're not gonna. It's just not in my DNA.
Have you ever been in serious debt, or what we call serious debt, or debt in?
Bro, of course.
Why did you have goals like that? Yes.
Because listen, debt. Well, now I know about good debt.
Good debt and bad debt. That's the thing.
So the question I'd say to you is that, sometimes I'm in 3 or 4% bad, and then I'm in in the other pot I could be in 45% good, but a lot of debt. If you was to put it on paper, you'd be like, that's a lot of money. But it's whatever's made.
How did you accumulate that debt? What type of debt was that? When you say bad debt, good
because
debt.
you need to recycle your assets without losing them to gain other assets, but you're not happy to lose them, so you pay an interest on them, which then is the debt is when something is due with an interest on it, or I don't mean debt like I've taken a loan out for $100,000 and I'm paying a constant £1,000.
Right, well sometimes because credit card can get like that.
Credit cards are probably the worst. That's my other 3-4%.
That's one thing my dad told me. The one thing my dad said, don't do the credit card. And I was like, and I didn't really understand why or whatever. Then I was like, yeah, don't do the credit card.
It's really mad, right?
I like the game. The credit card games, when it works for me, I love it.
You work the game, don't you?
Bro, I use it for myself.
That's pretty good.
And I'm up because that's up
brilliant.
Because of it. Yeah. That's it. Like you use it for yourself. Don't use credit cards to think you've got peas when you ain't got peas.
Of course, but with me and credit cards, it's funny because credit cards bother me when they're in debt more than when I'm in like big debt over somewhere else.
It's crazy,
big
isn't
debt,
it?
I'm like, well, there's a reason for that.
Right.
That's because, and if worst ways, A, B, and then that's gone. So it's a decision not to A, B it.
Yeah.
But, credit cards, they annoy me because obviously, they do spiral.
It's niggling and it's there and it gets up and it goes up.
Before you know it, you got a few of them going. It's easy to be in 20 grand of debt on a few cards.
I got email the other day. They were like, would you like to up your credit limit? 4 times my limit, what I already had.
Yeah.
And had to up it. What I had to do to up it. Tap something on my phone. Yeah. They gave me the email. I tapped it up 3 times as high as it already was.
Well,
just give me any money they want.
That's interesting. So, I haven't had that scenario. My credit charge should go up. They put them up. So
they just put it out for you.
Yeah. I recently got American Express charge card.
Okay.
Oh wow.
How does that work? How does a charge card work?
Charge cards month to month.
Okay, and you pay a fee at the every month at the beginning.
Beginning, you pay your fee,
Right.
and then you charge card. So basically, it's not like a credit card. So every month has to be paid in
Right.
full.
Okay, so it's a charge
And you
card.
get loads of points on it, and this, that, and the other. But even that can get out of control. Sometimes, having money or not having money, it depends on the character as well. We're all different characters, right? I'm the worst person to go out with and see something that I want with the ability to buy it. Don't matter how I can buy it. If I
What's
want
the most
it,
expensive thing you ever bought? What's the most expensive thing you've ever said to yourself,
a lot of money.
I'm going to buy that, and it's like, oof. And not a house. I'm talking about a
can't be
thing.
house. Not nothing. No, I can't say anything too much, man.
Not crazy. You ever bought a car that was like, oof.
No, you know what? Funny enough, it's definitely wouldn't be the most expensive thing I bought. I'm not silly, I really like cars. I really like beautiful cars and stuff, and I've had a few nice cars, but I don't. You think that fair thing we was talking. You speaking about fair, like I fair to go and spend 150 on the car I want, because I'm like, bro, man, that's just silly, man. Cars are dumb. I'm too intelligent to know that's dumb. It's just dumb. No one don't like. I'm not out here praying for fame. So most expensive thing I bought, I don't know, man. Not a lot of money. Maybe 70 grand, maybe.
Okay, that's
70,000.
That's still a chunk, bro. Was it for yourself?
Yeah, for me.
That's nice. That's nice. Okay, I'm gonna jump a question that I was gonna ask you later, but what's the most expensive thing you bought for a partner or a girlfriend or I bet it was a watch.
Funny enough, in this scenario, it's not.
It's not.
Funny enough, it's not. No. I would say a piece of jewelry.
That's what I'd imagine. That type of thing. Watch. It's
definitely.
It's still like jewelry or something like that.
I get a lot of. Yeah.
Do you
think about it? You're gone.
Do you spend a lot of money on your partner? Is that something you... Have you always spent money on partners? Is that always...
Absolutely not.
Really?
My mother's serious, My mum taught me a lot of stuff. And
Yeah.
one of the things she told me is, you don't buy no girl, I'm not that guy because
okay.
You think I'm taking you Louis and buying you? No.
But
No,
if you can, like, why not? And sometimes...
of course not.
And sometimes...
That's for me.
Yeah, and it's great.
Me.
But sometimes it's like... Sometimes some guys want you to do that. Like, some guys want to do that. So it's just like I'm bartering. I'm giving you this and you're giving me that. And I'm... Do you know what I mean?
I think it goes against my... So partner, look, man, you're in a relationship. Obviously, you buy whoever it is, whatever you think you can afford to buy them. I would say that later on in my life, I'm more free with the buying.
Okay.
For my partner, I would say that she gets, anything she would want. And she doesn't want anything. That the real thing is this.
She doesn't want anything. That's the dopest girl. That's the dopest girl.
I swear to you right now, the only reason why she has designers or jewelry or anything is because I would have also. Because I say to her, like, I don't over like stuff. But I say, when we go out, I like a few nice bits. I said, how can I be rocking in here with my, and you're sitting there with, it doesn't make sense.
It don't match up. It don't match up.
That comes with maturity. But slowly
Right.
I've got her into it. Slowly I've got her into bags. Like, now she likes bags.
It's your fault, given her habits.
Yeah, just give her a few little things,
Yeah, that's nice.
And then, but I'd normally, like, if I go somewhere in the world, or go to another country or whatever, I come back, you buy her a nice gift, you buy her a nice bag. Girls like bags, I guess, isn't it? That's what you think. And then, yes, I'd say the most expensive item for a partner, definitely jewelry. Probably a bracelet. Really nice bracelet as well.
Yeah.
It's in my mind right now. So nice that I reckon she's only wore it once.
It's like that.
Yeah,
It's that nice. Take it out when you need to take it out, type thing.
Do you know what I mean?
I get it. So, like, so when you were dating, did you ever rack up a bill, like a nice bill on dating? Because I know I spent money on people. I spent money on girls. Do you know what I mean? Like, I did it. Did you ever? Okay. How much is the most you've ever spent on a date? You must remember a time when you've went out. Because listen, I remember the times when I go out and I've just had drinks with boys and we're going out and we're doing whatever. And I go home and I look and I'm like, I spent. Do you know what I mean? So you must have had a time where you did that with a female.
Yeah, I guess probably the most I've ever spent, trying to play Pablo, probably, 3-4 grand maybe.
Okay, on the date. That's That's
But
that's a fair amount of money, you know.
To be fair
That's
to that situation,
that's a lot of people's wages, you know that.
I'll be fair to that situation though. Now maybe it's not fair to say because there's another. Yeah, I paid for 4. Did I pay for 4? Basically, I went out on a double date. Yeah, yeah. I might be getting myself in trouble. Here,
When was this, by the way?
BC, this is before.
Okay, well, let's say that.
No. We went out 4 of us. Yeah. Yeah, long time ago. Long time ago. And then I think I fitted the bill for everyone.
Right, okay.
Because I knew the person I was with couldn't fit the bill.
Right.
But I was just in a better situation, so I cleared up. It's probably at 4 bags, maybe.
4 bags
and that's a rarity. And
But still, that's still a chunk, bro. Like to go out and have a drink.
Yeah, I guess it is. That is a lot of money, I guess. But that was in my drinking. Right. And is it showing off? Maybe. Balling? I don't know. I think balling and showing off is both the same. Two and
It's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting because I've done that. I've done it before. Like you're with people and whatever, and you're saying, I can afford this for everyone. Yeah. Let me do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, why not? Yeah. If you can, why not? Right?
I get caught up in the feeling. If the vibe's right and I can do it and I want to do it, I will never ever do something that it's not to. Well, if
sometimes it is a bit bossy. Sometimes it is a bit whatever. But also, I clock that. You know, the thing with money, I feel that it doesn't really change situations that much. No. Like it did. When I'm buying everyone dinner or whatever, it didn't do nothing. Do you know what I mean? Like nothing in the ether happened. No one came out with confetti and went, "Oh, Ryan paid for the bill." Like it was just normal. It's just we ate food and I paid for it. Do you know what I mean? So I think I used to maybe have a different idea of having more money and doing these like more lavish things, but it's the same. We're the same people. We do the same things whether we have peas or not. We're just the same people.
So to put that into context, yeah, I used to think going out back in the day when I used to rave a lot in East London. And, you know, we used to think like we had to buy champagne. We had to buy the bottles, you know. And as I've got older, I kind of realised, you know, you really realise when you can really afford things, you don't buy nothing. You go in a rave and you drink brandy and you buy a bottle of brandy because it's smart. I don't need champagne. How much champagne for?
That's it.
But when you're younger, you're finding your grand, you know, you're kind of like, you're laying your stamp, so to speak.
Yeah, you want to look like somebody, and you think if I do this, I'm gonna feel like this, and other people are gonna feel like this about me, or think I'm this, or think I'm that. But now I don't care what you think, bro. Yeah. So,
like I said to you the other day, I was in the barber shop and I looked down and I was like, I had my beat down training strap where people laugh at, and I'm like, you can't laugh and it's cool then, nang. I had my 95s on, which are beat up, they've got a hole in the front and that. I had my grey Primark shorts on. I had my white t-shirt on. Looking a bit gruffed out, look borderline homeless. 200 grand watch on, bro. And I'm like, this is mad. This is ridiculous. This is so
because it doesn't matter.
This is how much I don't care.
It don't matter.
This is how much I don't care. I'm not trying to. We're past all that now.
100%. It don't matter.
We're borderline past all that now.
Do you like have a budget for like monthly expenditures and stuff like that with your partner, or how does the money work for monthly?
I would love to think that we're that organised, but I'd say that we don't have necessarily a monthly budget. Yeah.
Well, you just don't know it's a budget. You just pay what
true.
you're paying, right? Because everyone has a budget, but they just don't know if it's
that's true. We don't really we don't have much more flamboyancy going on than what needs to go on. Right. So the standard things like, you know, obviously kids and that. So kids have got classes. There's stuff to pay for regular in the terms and stuff, swimming, ballet, this and that. You know, my missus probably handles all of that. So,
right.
You know.
So do you have a credit card, which the credit card goes out and then you pay the credit card at the end of the month, or do you have your joint accounts? How does it look like? What does the budget look like?
You know what? Again, I would love to be that organised, but number one, we don't necessarily work on joint accounts. We just have you know, we have cards. I guess they are joint. Yeah, I guess they're joint. Yeah.
Yeah, because you both use them.
Yeah, we both use them.
Yeah.
And we just work our way through the cards. So we work our way from A, B, C, D card. And as we get to D, I'm replenishing A, B, C, and we're constantly replenishing. And that could be from debit to credit, depending on what's going on in our financial circumstances.
So you don't work purely off of credit, you don't work purely off of debit, it's
Absolutely
just whatever the situation.
Whichever the situation lends easiest to. Because sometimes I might not be debit strong. I might not have loads of... my cash flow might not be the nature of my business. My cash flow might not be strong in the bank.
Right.
That's what credit cards are for. They pick up the slack. Then all of a sudden, cash flow's heavy. So cash flow pays back credit.
So then, do you have an amount that you spend? Then you just spend, and then you say, "Don't worry, I'm gonna make it back." Is that what it is, or you say, "I'm gonna spend this amount this month," or you just spend whatever?
I would like to say that we don't have an amount we spend. No, we don't. I don't think we need to because we don't overspend. We don't. What else are you buying except for shopping? You know, hair, nails, on their side. And so you say so going to Albania, look, 5 of us, we're going for 10 days to cheap country. I said, right, we need £2,000 cash. You need five grand liquid in the bank, be it on your credit or debit cards, up to you. Probably credit smarter. And then I think that's a kind of smart way to leave the country. Only in Europe, that's a smart way to do it. But if we was going somewhere like Dubai, schematics would be different. In Dubai, we were planning our Dubai holiday. The schematic's totally different. I'm like, right, we need 5 grand cash, 15 grand on the cards. Schematics are different.
Yeah, of course. Because it's just different stuff you're able to do when you're there, and stuff that you want to do. And I'm sure Albania has great stuff. I've never been to Albania, but there's a limit to what you're going to be able to do, or what it's going to call for you to buy certain things. So, do you prefer cash or credit? How do you prefer to pay for things?
I prefer to pay for things a mixture. To be honest with you, definitely a mixture. Cash is always good because it's simple, especially when you're in a foreign place. It's very simple and straightforward, and your cards are always your backup. They're like your second ammunition. You should work for your that's me. Only because I've been in certain places in the world where I haven't taken heavy cash, and I found myself in a pickle trying to get money out of cash points in some favelas in Fiji, Gala, Brazil, trying to find a cash point to withdraw money from.
Yeah,
Mad.
no good.
It's not good.
Hey, that's no good.
It's no good. Being in Suriname, your mum tells you don't need no money. There's cash points. You get all the way there, you're struggling to get $500 out of the cash point. That's mad. Take your money with you when you leave, yeah?
Yeah, man, just have it on deck. Do you buy generic goods, or are you like a name brand person when you buy stuff for your house, your family, and what have you?
So, I would like to think that I am. It's a bit of a contradiction, really. I'm not name brand. My children do not have designer clothes. That's the best way I can put it. I don't believe in it. My son's 13. I don't think I bought him one designer thing. Elite designer thing. I said to him, why? For what? I just about might buy myself this. When you can take care of stuff, I buy you everything. Yeah. Or furthermore, you'll work and you can buy your own stuff. The same way like I done it. Right. Yeah. So, and I'm jumping points a bit. 100% I like designer stuff. I like nice stuff. I like designer bits. Of course I do. I like drip. I like matching stuff. Because we live in the Western world, first of all. And we don't, I don't go to yoga and levitate, unfortunately. That's not my energy or my chi. As much as it's amazing and I know all about it a little bit. I don't know all about it. I know about it a little bit. I like to, I like match. I like trainers. I've got a trainer obsession.
Yeah.
I've got lots of nice
I think that's an error, I've got an issue. Yeah. I'm not bad, and I've tamed myself.
That's great.
I've tamed myself. But I think that was our era. That was a thing. Like, having all the type of crepes that you need to have, that was the thing. Not even Jordans, though, funny enough. Jordan wasn't the thing. When we were coming up, I remember my dad used to brought me trainers from Jordans from America, and I was like, whatever, what's these moon boots or whatever. But, like, all the Air Maxes and all that, bro, that was the thing, bro. And I had an issue. I think I was trying to not pay rent and buy trainers, bro.
That's mad.
I'm trying to buy trainers.
Not pay the rent, but get the trainers. You got to do,
Mad.
I like designers. I appreciate it. For me, there's no more enjoyment. I enjoy, flying to Harrods, slapping my car in the car park or Selfridges, walking through and looking at the stuff. The majority of the time, I won't buy it. You never catch me in designer tops and bottoms, trainers, bags, sunglasses.
It's like this. It's funny, It's like I feel like the nice accessories, complete an outfit. Because at the end of the day, you can wear a normal t-shirt, which is nice because it's a t-shirt. But you wear a sick jacket, and then nice crepes.
Of course,
you're done. Or a bag or whatever. That's Do you know what I mean? The dough pieces, as much as I like nice t-shirts and whatever, it's a t-shirt end of the day. Do you know what I mean?
You know, there becomes a line. Like, I'll go shopping with some of my other people, and you know, they would walk in the shop. They spend £450 on a t-shirt. And I'm looking at the t-shirt saying, no way, standing, don't need it.
It's a t-shirt.
£450 on t-shirt. I'll be like, right, I'm gonna spend, and then but at the other end of the spectrum, he'll be like, you're mad. You're spending £7 on trainers. I'm like, but my trainers last 3-4 years.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm
3-4 years old.
Because I'm
still
listen,
spankers.
And that's the other thing as well.
You know,
the more I'm kind of perpetuating the idea of buying trainers at the moment. Right. But the more trainers you own, the better your collection, bro.
The less you wear the ones.
The less I wear them.
Of course.
So I keep buying them, and then people say to me, bro, why are your trainers so clean? It's because I haven't worn them for time. Like, it's not that I've done anything special. I don't even clean them. It's just that I've worn that one once, 3-4 times in that year. Do you know what I mean? So that's how I see it.
I think if we live in London, right, and obviously London's it's not the main fashion place, but it's, you know, there's a lot of fashion in there.
Bruh, New York, Paris, London, it's like Milan, it's this.
So what you know, if you got a little bit of some, you know, there's so much designers and nice. There's something for everyone. There really is. I find So the answer is I do like a few designer bits. I hardly wear them though. Just saying.
So like for your climb to where you got to, do you ever remember any key moments of failure, or key moments that you had to pivot or change? Do you remember any of those?
That's a great question. Do I remember the key moments of failure? Yeah. The main one that sticks in my head is probably when I had a shop. I had a shop in the local area in South Woodford.
Yeah, dedicated to your bro.
Yeah, it didn't start off dedicated to him to start off with. So originally we all bought into it together.
When you say all, you mean your family?
Yeah, he was alive when we bought into it.
Okay, right.
Yeah, and so me, him, and my cousin, and we bought into the shop, and it was it was a good chat. And then afterwards when we invested into it, we invested heavy into it. Like, we're talking about so heavy that kind of money back then, I reckon I would have been so well off right now if I knew where to put it differently.
Right.
So much. It was ridiculous.
Interesting.
You know, it got so serious with my cousin. He dipped. He called it a day. He saw it before I saw it, but I was too. So I guess that was my first point of failure. The black hole. Look out for the black holes.
So how did
look out for the black holes?
Okay, so how did you know it was a failure, and how did you learn or pivot from that point of failure?
Failure in general, I think throughout life is quite easy to identify. And the reason why I say is this: if you give anything something, and it doesn't give you enough back for what you're giving it, you know, plus time equals failure.
That's a good point.
And you can put that into relationship. Relationship's a great one to put. You can put it to business. Let's keep it to business. So you put into business, you know, you're giving this business something. You're giving it time. Then you give it money. Then you give it emotion. It needs to give something back. So it needs to give either exposure, which eventually should lose the capital benefit for you. And over time, if it doesn't, then it's a failure. And then the next stage is you accepting the fact it's a failure and the ability to move on.
I think that's the hard part, though.
That's not.
I think that's a hard part with anything, especially you said new business, relationships. 1 minute this isn't working. Nah, maybe I can push it to make it work. Do you know what I mean?
It definitely.
Especially when you've done stuff. I've done certain stuff in my life that I feel that my pure will is the reason why that happened. Do you know what I mean? Pure will. I'm just gonna push blunt force, and then the thing happens because you're telling the universe, the world, this thing needs to happen. So sometimes you think to yourself, well, I'm able to do that in anything. I can do that in my relationship. I can do this in my business. I just say it happens, and it happens. But sometimes maybe it isn't as easy as that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, rather than seeing it as, you knowing it's a failure. Because sometimes you don't know. I've been in situations where you don't know. I don't know it's a failure.
So I get that, but the more you become grounded in your own life as an individual, the more you start to identify what failure is anyway. So, being able to distinguish failure is borderline a little bit of a skill, But you can't be asked to learn that early. That's something really hard to teach someone. Like, you need to look for the failure. It's mad. Experience is the only thing that's going to teach you where failure is happening. You're in a relationship where you're putting in all the effort and the other person is really not giving you it all back. That's failing. And, if you're mature enough, you'll call it a day. If you're not, that just means, you're not there enough. In the next relationship or moving forward in life, you'll see the signs. And it's even in business. I'm going to tell you something so ironic. This is mad to this exact statement we're talking about here. And it's implemented into my life in a different way. So the shop was a failure. It was a massive financial failure and a massive emotional failure as well, yeah? Driven by emotion. That doesn't work. When I was on the way here today, there was every single obstacle in my way to not get here. And I remember saying to myself, in my van, I was in West London, I was saying, something doesn't want me to get there, There was I've cancelled with you once, we moved it here, we shifted it, and I'm a person where if we say we're going to do something, I'm really important that we do it.
You want to do it, yeah, of course.
Sooner or later, other way. I said every single thing, but I thought to myself, today I was like, I'm just not going to let it fail. Right. No matter what, I'm going to reach.
But that's it. That's the will.
Flustered.
That's the will, yeah.
Half an hour to change, I'm going to make it work. So I guess in that situation, you're presented with I can easily say to you, it's not going to work.
I can't do it.
Let's read a book.
Yeah.
I guess in that situation, I had a get out of jail card because I had the experience, and now I'm going to see it through. It's going to work. Of course, it will work. Sometimes people don't have the vision because a younger me would have easily called you and been like,
Can't do it.
We need to read a book again. So I guess failing, we need to recognize it. We need to recognize it because obviously we're only on this earth for a certain amount of time, and energy, as you get older, you only have so much energy to put into something.
But there's learning in failure. There really is. I know it's probably been banged to dead, and people say, there's learning in failure. There's definitely less learning in achieving something, winning. When you win, you've done all the right things. That's why you won. Right. When you do the wrong things, then you have a chance to be reflective and say, well, let me look at that, and this didn't happen because this. Now I can take this information and implement it in another situation. Yeah. And that's where all the value is, really, in failing. I totally agree with you, man. But failing is scary. Well, it was to me for a very long time, to just the idea of possibly it not working used to mess me up a bit, but I'm like, oh, well, maybe I won't do it because there's a possibility of failure.
Of course.
So sometimes, even up to now, sometimes I won't want to, I will always do it, but I won't want to read emails or read the replies, just in case it's negative. I might fail.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Might be what you need to hear.
But at the same time, there's all the learning in failure. So you need it. You have to do it for you to get any better. I play sports. Sports is favorite analogies for me. So I'll play bad. I have a bad match, basketball or football. And the only time I really get better is when I've had a bad game. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, well, I did that wrong. I did this wrong. I did that. When you win, you just say, I won. Wow. That's it. There's rarely a time where you say to yourself, well, I did that and I could have done that better, because you're just excited because you won. Yeah. Wow. When you lost, I've lost before and thought about it for a week. Wow. That's how, as much as you shouldn't really beat yourself up about these things or whatever, but it helps me to say, oh, I'm not doing that next time. I will never play like that again. Do you know what I mean? Wow. Because of the failure.
You're right. I think you nailed it. Because really, you reminisce about the good times when someone brings it up, or if it's a conversation, but not on your own. You hardly sit there on your own and be like, I remember that time we beat them in that game.
Yeah.
But what you do remember is that time we lost, or that time we got done over. Right. So I guess, going back to failure, and it's, I think failure is an absolute must. It's cool. It's a must. A lot of my drives, a lot of my mindset is because it didn't work. I've tried so much different things, so many different businesses, so many different scenarios, and they ain't worked because they're not here today. But believe you me, their failure kind of choreographed what's going on now in some way or another.
But that's the magic. And what it would be nice to tell the younger me is that you imagine if you can do whatever you wanted to do, and you would never fail. if I told myself younger self that I would be okay with failure, because you are going to fail. That is going to happen. But in the end, through those failures, you're going to win.
Right.
So don't worry about that. Don't worry about all these little tiny failures that you're going to have to go through. You're still going to win. You have to go through those to get to this point. So you tell your younger you, what would you do if you thought you would never fail? Because at the end of the day, you're going to fail, but you're going to fail forward into something better. It's the only thing that's happened to me. I've only failed and done something different or better because of the failure.
That's great.
So it is 100% part of the game, and you have to do it.
Yeah, I think you're right. It develops character, doesn't it? It develops experience. You can't be experienced if you always won. You can only tell people about winning. You can't really tell people about, I don't know. There's a lot of substance in failing, but at the same time, you don't set up to fail. But I think the more you have failed, it's like your opinion on things, such as, if you're going to do a business venture, you can be I'm a big critic. I'm a critic, like, because I've been involved in so many businesses, small and large, I've become a critic of everything business-wise. Every business venture, every idea, I become a critic of it. How's it going to fail? How's it going to work? What's the exit strategy? Where's the money? Yeah? Where's the money? I'm a big questioner. I could doubt very easily. Maybe not verbally or externally, but in my mind. That's why whenever my first significant business, a shop, when it failed, I pledged to myself I would not set up another business until I was 30 plus. And I never did.
Yeah, but that's probably a good thing that helped you.
It gave me time to realise that, you really have to think. When if you're going into business online, brilliant. My business partner's he's credibly minded. Any business that is not online, I don't mean no disrespect to anyone else's business, just forget it. Opinionated, yeah?
Yeah, I get that. But we can see, if you're smart and you look at the massive businesses like Debenhams and all these high street brands, where are they and what are they doing? Yeah. And look at the successful ones. Mm-hmm. And it plays itself out that being inside a shop might not be a good idea compared to the profits and margins that you're going to get from being online.
Yeah, mad. I got based on your exact statement. I have to mention one brand, yeah. So, amazing shop presence, Primark. Amazing shop presence. Probably one of the most businesses that have done the best in lockdown and throughout, whatever. They're going online. And I always thought, why aren't they online? Yeah.
But I always thought it was difficult because they sell so much stuff so quickly. I always thought it was very difficult, and this is one I knew. I went to Primark in like Marble Arch, and I was like, I wanted some chinos. I just wanted some trousers. I think they were just for work. I just needed something because my other ones were whatever. Let me go get some. Looking for my size, couldn't find it. I said to him, "Excuse me, when do you get a new delivery? And then I'll come back or I'll buy it, whatever." He says, "Every day, 3 times a day." I said, "Huh?"
Like that.
For chinos. So I was just like, this business is popping, bro.
It's thriving.
3 times a day, and they're sold out. Sold out. So
just saying, Primark.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I get it. I totally understand, man. I totally understand that. But back to the failure thing. Michael Jordan said he missed over 9,000 shots and lost over 300 games. But from that, he learned how to be a champion. Do you know what I mean? Only from when from losing.
I'm still failing. Nah. I fail often. I price things out of sync sometimes still. You'd think that, don't you know by now? But the problem is you know by now, but the whole Brexit happened, stuff changing, materials changing. I didn't know that, didn't calculate for that.
Right, so you're learning.
So I'm constantly learning and constantly failing.
Yeah, but you're failing forward. You're failing.
Yeah, it's always forward. That's the main thing. Main thing, you are failing forward.
Right.
You just don't fail in a way where you put all your eggs in one basket and you fail, because that's not failing. That's just
wipeout.
That's just bad management of what you're doing.
Yeah,
that's different.
Yeah,
there's no scenario where any one person needs to put everything in one cup. I'm sorry, unless it's life threatening, I don't see why that's realistic.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that. That's all the questions I have for you, bro.
Oh, that's wicked, man. That's cool. Yeah, it's been a pleasure, bro. It's been a pleasure. It's been a long time, man. It's been a lot of years, isn't it?
It's good, man.
It's been a lot of years, man. It's cool, man.
Good.
And the game's brilliant, man.
Appreciate it.
The game's wicked. The game, I'm actually looking forward. I was actually sitting there thinking that, my people are going to like playing this.
Everything discussed on this podcast is either my opinion or the opinion of my guest, and not to be taken as financial or investment advice. It's for entertainment and educational purposes only. I hope you enjoyed it.